Welcome back to the Pearl Mussel Project EIP video training series. In this episode, we're looking at the control of rhododendron, the non-native invasive species that loves acid soils of the west of Ireland. It causes shading, it dries the soils, and it depletes habitats of their ecological value. And of course, it also decreases your plot score too. As a replacement for field training, we have 4 short videos that follows this that we'd ask you to watch. Just remember that there's a verification code that pops up towards the end, and we'd ask you to send this on either by text or email to ourselves with the contact details are shown here now. We'd like to thank the National Parks and Wildlife Service, Peter O'Toole, and Killarney National Park in particular for allowing us to use these valuable videos. Please remember that your own health and safety is of paramount importance, so please use the proper equipment and safety clothing, and remember your surroundings as well. You're in highly sensitive areas, near water courses, so please keep well back from your drains and water courses as per the specifications. Enjoy the videos.
My name is Peter O'Toole and I'm a conservation ranger here in Killarney National Park, and for many years one of my tasks in the National Park was the control and management of rhododendron, maybe for the last 20 years or so. And over that period of time we looked at many different methods as to how to control the rhododendron, and one of my main aims really in that time was to look at more environmentally friendly methods and a more environmentally approach to the whole control program here in the park. And as I say, we tried many different methods, you know, foliar sprayings, direct stump treatment, variations of that, basal bark spraying, all kinds of everything. And in 2006 I tried stem injection. I was a bit apprehensive before trying it. I didn't think it would be highly successful, but I was amazed at the results. The results proved that if you carried out the method correctly, it will give you 100% kill on rhododendron. The stem injection it's a very efficient method, very effective method. Will give you 100% kill if it's carried out correctly, as I said. It's a very environmentally friendly method because you're only applying the herbicide solution to the stems of the plant, of the rhododendron plants you want to kill, and there's no collateral damage resulting. And I think that should be taken into consideration by anyone, you know, killing rhododendron, controlling rhododendron on a large scale, especially in sensitive habitat areas. And as well as that, it's a method that can be used in all weathers, regardless of the weather. It can be raining and you can still apply it and it will kill the rhododendron, and it can be used at any time of the year. And when I say that now, it's obviously fast acting when the plant itself is active during the growing season. It will kill the plant a lot quicker, but you can also apply through the winter months. And let's say if you apply the method in November, when the plants are dormant or semi-dormant, you won't see any effect on the plant until maybe the following April or May, when the plant again begins to become active, when the sap is rising, and then you'll see the leaf fall from the plant and it will kill it 100%. We've tried this method now, you know, and we've got very conclusive results, and you know, the contractors use it, and it's the method we prefer over all other methods in the park. And as I say, for me, it was the breakthrough method, and you know, I want to demonstrate that today, and hopefully people will take it on board and look at the advantages of it. For the stem injection method now, we use a 14% solution of glyphosate with water, obviously, and that works out at about 7 parts water, 1 part glyphosate. After our trials here, we trialed different solutions, and we discovered that a 14% is capable of killing the biggest plants here that we have in Killarney, and some of them are pretty gigantic. They're 80, 100-year-old plants. So we have discovered that the 14% is sufficient. So we've reduced the usage of herbicide, you know, by carrying out those trials and finding that it was successful. And as regards applying the method itself, there are 3 ways you can do it. You can use a battery-operated drill by drilling small holes, maybe spaced 4 inches apart around the plant itself, around the base of the plant. And you can also use a hatchet, which I will be demonstrating now, you will see in the video. And as well as that, we found the most effective way to carry out the method, the most efficient way, was using a chainsaw. And obviously anyone using a chainsaw has to have the correct you know, competency and certification, etc. So as I said, the chainsaw method, I think we're probably the only park or place that I know which uses that method for implementing the stem injection, but we found that to be the most efficient, and I'll be demonstrating that now. It's a matter of making downward cuts, creating a notch, and then applying the herbicide to the notch, and all you got to do is fill the exposed plant tissue after the cut. That's all. You don't have to put any more on it, just to fill the notch with the herbicide. The herbicide is the blue colour you see in the herbicide is a marking dye, and you'll see that now when I apply it. And the marking dye is to show, you know, the work you've done. Otherwise it would be difficult to know what you have done and what you haven't done, because the herbicide solution in water is quite clear. So it's just a vegetable marking dye. And again, the applicator needs to be a good, robust applicator. You get all kinds of cheap hand, you know, sprayers like this fella. This is one of the better ones, and I would avoid the cheaper ones and go for a more expensive one, and that you can take it apart and clean it after use, and you'll get a lot more value out of it at the end of the day, and more success from it. So I'll just show you now how we carry out the stem injection with the hatchet. And one key factor in this is that you must apply the cuts below the last branch on the plant itself, because but if you don't, if there are branches below your cuts, it doesn't tend to translocate very well through those branches, and we find afterwards. But the main thing is to cut below the last branch on the rhododendron stem. You can see here now that's a good example of a correctly treated rhododendron stem, and you can see it's quite a big stem, so it required 4 cuts, but it will kill it 100%, you know. I've made my notches and I've applied the herbicide solution to the notches. So what's important here is each stem has to be looked at, and you have to judge each stem as you're treating. And you can see these are quite large stems, so it takes 4 notches and obviously treated notches to kill a plant of this size. Smaller plants would require maybe 2 notches, smaller diameter plants, but big plants like this would, I would say, space the notches about maybe 3 to 4 inches apart, and you've got to do it right around the plant, you know. Maybe, as I said, it took 4 notches. And it's important to get one on the back side of the plant here as well, because if you don't, it won't translocate evenly through the plant and kill it completely. So again, it's a matter of a bit of experience, judging the diameter of the plants, and, you know, applying the necessary number of notches. About, I would say, 3 to 4 inches apart is a good guideline, and smaller plants, 2 notches, you know, and maybe some plants 3, some plants 4, you know. Bigger plants would take 4, and maybe bigger than that again might take more. So And the same, we don't really use the battery operated drill in the park here. We've tended to rely on the hatchet method and the saw. We find the saw the most efficient and the most effective, and we don't use the drills. But the drill really is just, it's a matter, it's like making the notches here with the hatchet. It's the same. You drill 4 holes, small diameter holes around the plant again, and applying your herbicide and just filling the holes with the herbicide. And it's as I say, we find in the park that the hatchet and the saw are more efficient, and you know, if you have a number of people operating battery operated drills, you have a lot of charging to do, etc. So there's a bit of work involved with the battery operated drills. So we above all, for contractors and more professional people who are tackling the controlling rhododendron, we find the chainsaw to be the good method, the best method, really, you know. Right, so I have made my cuts with the saw, plunge cuts. You need a kind of a medium-sized professional saw, not too light, not too heavy, just whatever you're comfortable with, and a bit of power in it, and make your cuts depending on the diameter of the plant. This is quite a large, maybe 70-80-year-old rhododendron, and it required 3 cuts. And the beauty of the chainsaw method, it takes seconds to apply each cut, and the beauty of it is you're creating a well which traps the herbicide, and there's no runoff, and with this method there is no collateral damage as such. You're not vaporizing your spray, you're just putting in a jet of spray into the cuts, and there's no collateral damage, and it's safe for the user as well because you're not vaporizing. There's no inhaling the vaporized herbicide or solution. And you can see again, just it's a matter of maybe gaining some experience. 3 cuts for a very large stem like that, 2 for a kind of a medium size, or 1 for a smaller sized rhododendron. You can judge them yourself, and after gaining a bit of experience. But again, that's a rough kind of an idea as to, you know, how many cuts per stem. For each stem, the general rule is kind of space them. Maybe in this case they're 2 to 3 inches apart, but about that. And again, the big one here requiring 3, medium size 2 to 3, depending on what you think, and the smaller ones then 1 cut. And you can angle the cut as well, so you're covering more of the cambium layer like that. It's really, this method is all about getting the herbicide into the plant's transport system. The plant takes it up, and it will kill the plant 100%. You're putting in minute amount of herbicide into each cut. If you calculate the amount of herbicide mixed with the water, it's a minute amount of herbicide, but yet it's killing the plant, you know, 100%, and it's a very effective way, an environmentally friendly way of carrying out rhododendron control. I've done this multi-stem plant in about 30 seconds or whatever, and the chainsaw, as I said already, is the best method that we found, the most efficient, the fastest, most efficient, and it's the method now we use for all the mature rhododendron plants. You know, we use the hatchet one, the smaller, the strong saplings, but for anything outside of the small saplings we use the chainsaw, and we find it to be a fantastic breakthrough method for killing large rhododendron. Here we are in an area where we treated the rhododendron plants about a year ago, and you can see they're all completely 100% dead, you know, and there are some very large plants here that require 2-3 cuts, and they're again 100% successful. So I'll just say it again, for me this method has been a bit of a revelation and a breakthrough method as far as I'm concerned in the control of rhododendron. And today I'd like to show you how we deal with this kind of bushy type rhododendron plant that's usually multi-stemmed, and it's quite a common plant to find on with mountainsides, hillsides, and with wet heat, dry heat, and usually the plants end up so multi-stemmed for a number of reasons. Sometimes plants are cut back by people and are not treated, and then you will get multiple shoots growing back, you know, from the cut plant, and you'll end up with a horrendous multi-stem plant like this one. And also fire is another problem. Fire will burn through grassland, gorse, and also will burn the rhododendron above the ground, but it doesn't affect the root of the rhododendron. So the end result of all that is that the root is still alive. It will put up multiple stems, and it will become a horrendous, difficult plant to eradicate going forward. And fire also burns the surrounding vegetation, and it creates a seedbed for the spread of rhododendron, because you're eliminating all the competing native plants, we'll say, surrounding rhododendron bushes, and creating the perfect seedbed for the spread of for rhododendron seeds to germinate in, and obviously it will spread rapidly, you know, through those areas. So today really I want to show you, you know, maybe the best method that we know of for eradicating such plants. It's the most environmentally friendly way and most efficient way. The other alternatives are you can come in with a machine and dig it out, and you have a huge root ball attached to it, and the plant, unless you destroy it in some other way by burning it or something, which really isn't an option, the plant will continue to grow even after you removed it from the ground, because there's a massive root ball with soil attached, and you'll probably end up having to spray the plant that's uprooted. And another option again that mightn't be environmentally friendly is to go in and foliar spray plants like this, and that's spraying all the leaves with the herbicide, and the end result of that is that you have a lot of collateral damage surrounding the plant, and it's not the most environmentally friendly way to go, really. And so look, what I'll do is now is I'll demonstrate the method we use for killing multi-stem rhododendron bushes like this one. And so I'll do that now. The first thing you've got to do is gain access into the plant, and that's the most difficult thing. Sometimes there are so many stems in a plant like this that it's difficult to know where to start. So I'll just go through the method now that we use. Again, this method involves a chainsaw, and again, you've got to have the right qualifications, obviously, to use the chainsaw, the right protective clothing before you attempt anything like this. So at this stage now, I've just opened up the plant for treatment, and you can see how multi-stem this plant is. This plant was possibly cut back at some stage and not treated, and this is the end result of it. You have probably 20, 30 stems. So you've opened up the plant for treating, so you must tip the stem injection method that I'm going to use here with the saw means that you have to tip every stem with the saw and treat every stem as an individual plant. So every stem has to be treated, has to be tipped with the saw, and then the herbicide applied afterwards. So we'll just do that now. Here again, like in the other YouTube videos that we have done on rhododendron control, look, we use a hand applicator, and it's a 14% solution we use in water, a glyphosate solution in water with a marking dye. The blue colour is a marking dye which will show the work that's done. So I'll proceed now and treat the plant. So again, you can remove a certain number of stems in the plant to access the other stems, but the main thing is cut as few as possible, because it's a systemic treatment, and when you treat the individual stems, the herbicide will translocate through that stem, through the stem, down through the roots, and it's a kind of a collective thing. All of the treated stems will kill the root entirely, but each stem must be, you can't miss stems, or so make sure that you have every stem tipped with the saw before, otherwise you won't get 100% kill on the plant. So now you can see here I've just tipped every stem in the plant. I haven't made a plunge cut into them like we would do with the larger plants. I've just tipped them all, and what you do then is, and the ones you've cut as well, to gain access, you just spray those, spray the cut ones, and also spray where you have tipped all the individual stems. Just spray on the stems, spray on the cut where you have the exposed plant tissue, which is very obvious, the white colour. So that's about it. Just spray make sure you get every one, otherwise those stems will actually survive and the plant is not 100% dead. So you can see now that plant is treated. Here we go, just the last few stems there. Make sure you look and make sure all the stems are treated, and that really is how we deal with multi-stem plants in Killarney National Park. And I think it's a fast, efficient method, and more, above all for us, it's the most environmentally friendly, because as I mentioned, if you want to use a method not using herbicide, then your option is a machine to dig it out, and even at that you'll probably end up spraying the plant that has been dug out, because it will survive for quite a long time with a massive root ball attached to it. So there you are, thank you.